So I'm kind of, what I have here on the side is I have my iPad full of like a bunch of images from the anime, and I'm just going to kind of dive right into it. So if anyone has any questions while I'm working on this, they can go for it. And this is what I was hoping my camera would not do. How it's doing that like bright white. Let's see what I just turned off. Yeah, we were running into some technical difficulties with me using a new MacBook. Maybe if I just turn off the lights altogether. Is it still gonna do it?
That's good right there.
Okay. So hopefully, just let me know if it starts getting super blurry or you can't see
No,
anything or
it's
anything.
actually really good, just like it is.
Okay. And I will try to see.
Yeah.
All right, so I'm just gonna block out where I want this to be. Always when I do these half portraits, I try to figure out like where I want the chin to hit and then the side of the face. And this is probably gonna move around a bit as I'm drawing because that's just usually what happens. I'm just kind of getting a little loose idea. I usually end up drawing too big at first. Rough in the mouth, kind of get in the neck. You want the ear in there with the hair poking out.
So you said this was for something? This is,
yeah, it's a private commission that someone likes my half portraits and they said, can you do me a character from this anime? And I was like, sure. So I'm gonna bring this hair down. I decided to start off with this pink color to kind of block everything in because the piece will be predominantly in the warmer tones, and also the character's hair's pink, and this is just a good setup. So I'm gonna go quickly, or I'm gonna go my normal pace plus 10% because I want you guys to really get an impression of how I work. So I think I want the eyes to be right there. And since this is a color piece, and this is kind of me leaning back into what I learned about John Singer Sargent and all of the, masters that I looked up to, I want to put in some color that'll like pop through like at the end. So I'm putting blues in the shadows.
so Ashley, is that Reeves or is that Arches? What's the paper?
Yeah, the Arches BFK Reeves printmaking paper. So you would find this in the printmaking section of any craft store or art supply store.
You're drawing with new pastel right now?
Yes. Those are my two go-to media. It's got like these like face tattoos. I'm going to kind of get somewhat of an impression of where those would go. You can hear Leon in there going crazy. He's going da, 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 over and over. He got his first haircut today. Exciting times. Right. So I'm putting in a variety of colors because I want a sense of color harmony. That's the best way. Part of it's just me kind of going with my gut and what feels right. I love putting greener tones like around the mouth and kind of near the nose and stuff because these are going to be pops of red later on. Usually I'll put, make sure there's plenty of warmer tones in the nose, in the lips, and in the cheeks. And so having that green next to it as a complementary color is good. It helps. They push and pull against each other. I'm just gonna kind of easily put this in. All right, so general midtone. Now I'm going to go in and kind of block in the eye. He's kind of got that crazy look about him. So I'm going to do his eye a little crazy. It's always kind of fun doing anime because I mean, I talked about when I was younger that I like drawing anime. So whenever someone wants to pay me to draw them something in my style that's an anime character, I get pretty excited. We're going to give him a wide mouth because he's a little crazy. Like I said, this is a character that was taken over by a demon or a curse. I did watch some of the episodes on Crunchyroll to get an idea of what I was doing. All right, I'm going to punch in the blacks. And I love having the opportunity to put in like a really dark against this lighter subject, because then it really pops, it brings it forward. So I'll lean into that when I can. So that's why I really wanted to make sure I had this negative space for the face, so I would have that opportunity to make it pop. So I'm gonna wipe my hands off a little bit to get the excess black pastel off of it. So when I blend this, it's not too bad. So now that I put down like a darker, it was like a dark maroon outline, I'm going to go back again and then put in some midtones with that pigment. And usually, you know, you want to have like the bridge of the nose, because your bridge of your nose, like if you're looking at a face from a profile, it dips down. So always put that shadow right here near the brow line. And then you want, as your eyebrows go down, they're squishing that skin. So you want that cast shadow here. And I'm imagining my lighting as I'm doing this, because I'm kind of doing an anime character and just having fun with it. I could have looked up reference of a face with particular lighting to kind of guide my eye, but I decided not to. I'm just going to have fun because I've done this so many times. I already have an idea of what I want or what that would look like. So I'm imagining the lighting kind of coming down like from this angle, coming down like this way. So he's going to have his cast shadow underneath his nose, brow line, under the lip, and then down here on the jawline. All right, so I'm building up my pastel. And I'm going in again with that maroon color, trying to kind of bring out the dark areas again, now that I smeared them. And then I'll be going in with the highlights in a moment. I am known for doing eyes, so this is going to be the main feature, is how I do this character's eyes. It's the part I enjoy doing most, and it's what most people like seeing. And I'm going to bring in some of that pink hair here. Okay. With the eye. One thing to remember whenever you're drawing eyes, you know, the whites of the eyes, all of this, the upper lid, all of that, it casts a shadow. And you want to keep remembering all the different forms. You know, the eye is a ball in a socket, and all these different elements are going to affect as they overlap. So the upper lid does a cast shadow. You know, the corners of the eye are going to, since it's a rounded shape, will be darker. You know, the lid protrudes and then does a small little cast shadow. And then the jawline, you want to keep that depending on how you're working, but usually since it's your face is rounded as it goes around, you don't want super sharp lines for the sides of the face, generally speaking. Okay, so now I'm going to pop in highlights, which is always the fun part. So often my pastels will get so dirty that they look like, let's see if it's going to focus. Well, they get really filthy. So I have a rag that I wipe them off as I'm working on them. So I have something clean. So this is, if I was thinking this is oil paint, I guess a Naples yellow, like a light Naples yellow. I'm going to bring in the highlight around the nostril because that's just kind of the signature thing that I do, that I enjoy doing. At the same time, considering my light source coming from this direction, and thinking about all the different ways these shapes and forms would be described with that in mind. So I've got the chin, which juts out. I'll put that there. The nose that comes forward. You have that nice bridge in the nose, which is always a fun place to add your final highlights. Got this brow line that is crinkling in. So we get to highlight that. That's an opportunity to bring in some shapes and show form. And then I want to show this cast shadow of the jawline. So I'm going to put a little bit of light on the neck here. All right, so this has all been with this one color for right now. So I'm going to go into the eyes and start getting the whites of the eyes. So I'm literally just kind of drawing that in there, and then I'll blend. This whole part is just about the general values. I'm not getting into specifics just yet. I'm just setting up my drawing. This character has pink hair. And this thing is very blurry right now. It's not the camera.
Actually looks really great on camera.
Good. Yeah, I was just saying the actual piece is blurry because I'm blending all of this. Just saying that your camera isn't messed up. It's my drawing. So I'm going to kind of go through the same process I did just then. And now I'm going to start getting into the details because I've established the general breakdown of values. I have my darkest dark. I had my, my midtones. I've got some highlights. So that process of darks and lights has built up the general forms. And now I can kind of drop my pastel. And once I drop it, it's lost forever. So I had to go grab another one. And so I'm going to go in and start adding in detail. I do incorporate line work with my drawing. Just always nice. It's always fun. Makes it a little bit easier to pull forms. So this is just kind of a dark bluish color. I'm going to go in there and I'll slowly build that up. And I like to use a darker maroon for the creases of a nostril because you have a lot of blood flow in the nose. So I try to keep those selections a bit warmer. Same thing with the lips, but this character has those tattoos on his face. I'll add those in at the end, but I wanted to at least outline where they were going to be so that I wouldn't not have enough space, or it's not designed well where they wouldn't fit. Okay, let's build up those highlights again. So I'm about to good old new pastels and their annoying wrappers.
George Pratt has when you always
Does he have
joke
an
about it,
assistant who does it?
he would pick up a new pastel. I mean, a new pastel at the store, and he would break it. He would break them the way he breaks them up, because he intended to buy them. He said, if they don't break, don't buy them, because they're too hard to draw with.
Yeah.
And then he
I
said,
never thought about that.
yeah, it's true. I mean, some of them, like, they don't even, you can't get the pastel off. Part of it is the amount of part of it is the amount of glue they use on them. But they're still my favorites.
Love-hate relationship for sure.
Yeah. I draw on really smooth paper, and I could never, I couldn't get the buildup like this that you do.
Yeah.
Is
that the same paper you pass
like
out?
Academy paper stuff
yeah.
I'm using, yeah.
Yeah, I've used it before, but I do find that I end up kind of, since I'm so used to building up my pastel, I have to hold back a bit, and I'm using like a cotton rag to wipe away because I've overdone it.
Yeah, the smooth paper allows you to fake a lot of that stuff.
Yeah. Okay. Trying to, it's a little weird for me not having any lights on while working on this. So
it looks great.
It looks good on the computer, but I'm squinting. We're gonna get in there and make it work. Yeah, I'll probably keep working on this tonight because it's something that I've been needing to finish.
Yeah, you can turn the lights on when we're done.
Okay. Be totally different. Wasn't there like an artist who did a dining room? Like, this is an old like master painter who did a painting on the walls, and it was done by candlelight, and it was only intended to be viewed in candlelight because it looks completely different with the lights on. It's terrible. We might have one of those moments when we get to the very end of this. So it's usually just a back and forth of me building up my pastel. I feel like each time I lean in, it like adjusts. One of my favorite things to do is that highlight of the eyeball at the very end. And also it's the top of the bottom lid that gets hit by light. That's so much fun. And then that little wet area right in the tear ducts. is a fun area to pop in. For the sake of the demo, I'm kind of just focusing in on this eye area in this last 15 minutes. Let's see how that looks. Since this guy is not wearing lipstick, I'm going to push this back to more of a flesh tone color, his lips. I liked having that mid-tone there. It'll kind of poke through. So you've got a highlight right in the crease of the eye. That's always a fun area. And then right in the Cupid's bow. I think that's what it's called. You'll notice that people's lips kind of have a small little ridge right where the flesh of the lips start. And if you look at photography, sometimes you'll get that little highlight. And I love that little highlight. And I'll put that in there in my drawings. I need this mouth shape to be better, to be more cash. Let's see. And later on, I might come back and do some like a secondary light source that'll offer a bit of rim lighting to help show the forms. Every time I say the word rim lighting, I think of John Foster. He's like, gotta add that rim lighting. He's a man when it comes to rim lighting. So I'm just going to put a little small indication of that for the sake of the demo. Go ahead and do that right now. Yeah, I decided to do the half portrait because I was doing another small gallery piece that last night I was so tired, and the image needs to be put in the mail by tomorrow. And I kind of forgot about it. And I almost considered emailing the gallery to tell them that I've just been too swamped, which is true. I've been taking on more commercial work. And anyway, I considered it, but I was like, no, don't do that. I've been working with them. This is the same one with Gallery 1988. I've been working with them for so long. So the show is called 20 Years Later, and it is featuring pop culture work from movies, popular movies from 20 years ago. And I looked through the list and I saw that Jeepers Creepers was on there, and I was like, okay, well, maybe I could do, I don't know if you're familiar with the movie. At the very end, the monster is like looking through, well, anyway, it shows his eye at the very end, and it's kind of creepy. And I was like, well, maybe I could do just like a little small piece, and I'll frame that up and send it, and just do the original. And I ended up doing that in about an hour.
Got a question for you. With these private commissions, people are hiring you for your interpretation, but have you ever had trouble translating a character to your style?
The only time I struggle is with celebrity portraits. I get there, but I can't say that like doing the anime style stuff or the interpretations, or like, I don't know, like the Bride of Frankenstein was not difficult. Some of the more older movies and stuff didn't seem to be difficult, or animes. But whenever I dive into celebrity portraits, it's just like Kate Blanchett. I love her face, but it is a struggle to get all those subtle nuances. And as far as it looking like my style, that just happens naturally. And I kind of just hope it'll look like me. So, and usually it does. So I try not to worry about that. It's more like just doing my thing, and that'll happen naturally. But I would say celebrity likenesses take me longer, which is why I do a sketching phase first. Like I'll get my photo reference that I decided to use, and I'll do a pencil sketch of it. Same process from last week's presentation. And that'll help me out, because there's something about celebrities. I mean, you see them throughout your life, and they have these little subtle nuances to their faces that make them look the way they look. And it just gets difficult sometimes. So yeah, that's where I have trouble, but I'm getting better. That Wonder Woman piece that I had shared, it was briefly, but the vampire Wonder Woman, that one was fun because that was more of an interpretation loosely based off of the comic book. So I guess if it's characters based off of a concept art or drawing or whatever, yeah, it's a lot of fun because that can be somewhat loose, and it's me, you know. Celebrity likenesses are just a whole other beast. Trying to decide how crazy I want to make this character's mouth. If I want to do some kind of like wide grin, or just keep it simple and just focus on the tattoos later. I'm undecided. I'm gonna move on. And I know that I think anytime he's in this stage as a demon or whatever, I think his hair like pokes up. But I'm gonna take some artistic license and bring it in. I have a feeling when the lights come on, all of this is gonna look really maroon because that's all I've been using in that particular area. But let's bring in some blue. I want to blend that. I'm blending this entire section here because the idea is that all this hair that's going to be in the front will be lit, and it'll be casting a shadow on his forehead. So I'm just kind of laying that foundation for the shadows right now. And then I'll bring in like a little mid-tone for the hair. It's got to be really spiky. And now I'll come in with, you know, that pink as a highlight. And then I'll kind of render this off of that. As I'm working, I'm also kind of blurring my eyes to see how these forms are translating. Yeah, I don't know what I think about his mouth. I'm not going
That's
to
the
fuss with
best
it right
art
now.
tool ever. Squint your eyes.
Squint your eyes. Your mother will say it's bad for your eyes, but it's necessary to see how your forms are looking. Okay, got 5 minutes. So at this point, I probably, in all honesty, I would end up blending this thing out again and bringing it back. I think the reason I do this is as I'm building up the color and the form, some of my brush strokes, mark making is a little too direct, and I don't like the way it looks, but it's a good color, it's a good value. So instead I'll blend and then come back with a lighter touch. So I like having, like I've said in previous demos, I like that history left behind, that ghost image. Okay. And I'll try to work on my color harmonies. Bring in some more line work with the hair. Sometimes I'll get a richer black within the piece. Like I'll literally use black, which I never suggest whenever you're doing oil painting because it kills your color. But for pastel, it seems to be okay. And then I'll put down the black and then I'll go over it again with like a, what would be equivalent to an ultramarine, and blend those together. So I'll get that value range I'm looking for with the black, and then I'll put on top of it the blue. So I'll build it up that way. And I'll have to do something with this background. I don't want it solid black.
Do you have an hourly, daily, or weekly rate goal with your work? Do you make more hourly on some types of work than others?
I don't charge by the hour anymore. I charge by the size, and depending on the larger size it is, it depends more on like what they're asking for. But I have like a general estimation, because at this point, I used to charge by the hour, but I'm more experienced now and I can get things done faster. So it's just pointless to charge by the hour. So did that answer the question? Was that the whole question? Did I miss it?
Yeah, I think so.
Okay.
Is there, well, is there some types of work? Do you make more hourly on some types of work than others?
By now I kind of know how long it's going to take me to do something. When it comes to this type of work, fantasy work, even like different like interior illustrations for books, I already have an idea how long it's going to take me. But also depending on the client, like say this is for a client piece, they usually have a budget, and I also know how much is the going rate for that particular industry, and that's more of how I'll base my pricing or negotiating pricing. Also depending on how complicated they want something might come into play. But whenever I'm just doing private commissions, I already know about how long it's going to take me to do something. And that's kind of how I'll base my prices. Also, I've kind of built up a clientele. In this past year, I've increased my prices because I wanted to bring in clients that were willing to pay more for my work, because I felt like it was worth it. And so I may have less clients, but they're paying more. So I'm actually making more money that way. So, all right. So I think we're at the 8 o'clock mark, and we're about to see what this looks like.
This looks great.
Yeah, it's a good start. It's definitely a good start.
Hope to see you in drawing this Thursday, and we'll be here for next week with Ashley's digital presentation.
Have a nice night, everybody.
Thank you,
Bye.
everybody.